My name is Ed Nardi, Chair of the Natural Resources Commission, and I am calling this public meeting to order at 7 p.m. Tonight's NRC meeting will be a hybrid in-person and Zoom meeting. We have a microphone set up on the commission table and plans will be projected through the TV monitor. If you are presenting via Zoom, please turn on your audio and microphone when it is time for you to speak. Following the presentation by the petitioner and questions from the commission, members of the public will have the opportunity to ask questions and provide public comment. Please identify yourself with name and address for the record. You can also raise your hand from your phone by dialing *9 and use *6 to unmute. All video screens will be turned off with the exception of the commissioners, Delia, and the current petitioner. Once the commission has acted on an application, the petitioner is free to leave the meeting. This meeting is being recorded. In the event of any technical difficulties, all matters on the agenda that have not been heard will be automatically continued to the May 17th NRC meeting. At this time, I would ask the commissioners to introduce themselves.
Bill Cremeza.
Gary Kleiman.
Sarah Grimwood.
And do we have Nick? I don't see him up there.
I don't see
I
him.
think he was going to attend, but
He did. He said he was going to attend by Zoom.
yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so we have 4 out of 5. All right, so I think the first thing up on the agenda is approval of meeting minutes of February 22. I didn't have any comments on them.
I had a few editorial that I passed to Karen.
Okay. Anything of substance there or
No.
just, okay,
Yeah, I had nothing.
And I hadn't attended, so I'm.
okay. All right, with that,
So I move that we accept the draft meeting minutes as our final meeting minutes with the few revisions that Sarah passed on for February 22nd, 2023.
Second.
all right, we'll take the vote. Bill, you can abstain, I assume.
Yep.
Gary,
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
And I am an I as well. All right, any of the commissioners have any new business they want to bring up? All right, saying none, we'll go to the Delia, director's update.
Okay, so as everybody is aware, town meeting will be held on Sunday, beginning at 1 p.m. and will probably carry over through Monday. I think that the moderator is expecting to get through at least the CPC article. And just in relation to that, I don't know if people have seen the FinCom report, but FinCom has has voted affirmatively on all of the CPC items with the exception of the Warner's Pond restoration project. And so they are recommending, so that will be pulled out of the article. That item will be pulled out of the article and be discussed separately. And I'm drafting right now a response that I will share with the commission, but it's basically trying to respond to what I anticipate the questions are that are coming from the finance committee on that. What they wrote in the finance committee report is that they feel that insufficient information is available to make an informed financial decision. And that if there is sufficient progress made to selecting and cost estimating an alternative, then the FinCom will consider and announce its decision at the annual town meeting. And, you know, because we've discussed, the project's purpose has not changed. It is to identify measures that will improve the ecological capacity and recreational resources that are available at White Pond. How we accomplish that has changed. But CPC has unanimously approved the recommendation. So I'll draft something up.
So my understanding was there was a FinCom meeting last week. Did they stick with the same decision? Because that must have been printed before then.
I actually had sat in on the town meeting discussion a week or two ago, and
Okay.
the Peggy Briggs of the FinCom had said that they were going to make a decision at tomorrow night's meeting on how they were going to approach this. So I had intended to attend that meeting to see if I could answer any questions, but I don't know when they made that decision. I just heard about this today.
I mean, is it your sense that just until they know what method we've selected for addressing the issues, they can't weigh in from a financial standpoint as to whether we have properly costed and, you know, our asset, or, you know, Like,
I
it
don't
seems
know.
like their mandate
So-
is financial, so they're like
Correct.
trying to figure out,
Mm.
are we spending the right amount of money?
Which
But we
is
don't
more
know
of a, it's more of a, in my opinion, that's really more of a CPC decision. I mean, they have a bucket of money that they're asked to
Mhm.
appropriate. And, this is not money that's coming out of the town budget per se. It is,
And anything that isn't utilized for whatever the solution is would remain in
Just go
the
back.
It would just
Yeah.
go-
recreational assets
Yeah.
fund at
Right.
CPC.
and my concern is that if we don't receive this
Oh,
funding,
yeah.
that we're not able to continue to pursue
Any of the. options.
anything.
Right.
Because the other money is banked for dredging.
Yeah.
And this money is really looking to, continue the exploration,
Mhm.
engagement with the community and, understand the alternatives. And the second piece of that is if we don't receive this funding and are expected to go back to CPC next year, who knows what other projects will come in? And right now CPC has adequate money to fund all of the projects that have been
Hmm.
submitted to them, which is very unusual. Usually that's not a position that
Yeah.
CPC is
We
in.
had quite a discussion about this again at CPC at the last meeting and went through everything that you've just been through and reaffirmed our support because of all those reasons. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's disappointing.
What was the amount that was allocated by CPC? I don't remember.
550.
550 ounces.
And the previous amount that's being banked for the moment was that 2.5?
Yep.
And when
Two
you
and a
s-
half minus the 68 plus or minus that has been
Spent for this
For the
stuff.
consultants
Yeah,
and
okay.
Right.
and whatnot. Yeah,
towards
sure.
what we're looking at right now. And the alternatives analysis report will be finalized. We hope to have that published Friday.
Mhm.
So, I don't.
Yeah.
It's,
So regardless of where people may stand on what should happen to the pond, the money's needed to do all the kind of work that we need to do in preparation for that.
yes,
So that's one thing that should unite everyone at the meeting, regardless of the position, right?
Yep.
Good.
Yep. And any money that is not spent, I mean, we anticipate that the report will identify that dam removal is the preferred alternative.
Mhm.
That's what, we are anticipating. We've seen the draft and so we are anticipating going after a lot of grants.
Mhm.
There are
Mhm.
federal and state
Right,
grants
right.
that will support dam removal because it has such a high ecological value
Yeah,
as opposed to dredging, which doesn't. So we would anticipate that the money that has been banked already,
might be enough.
some of that is going to be returned,
Mm.
and
Right,
what has
right,
been
right.
requested from CPC will go back to CPC. What has been, authorized from debt will then, go
Mhm.
back into the town's budget.
Okay.
And do you think there's a hesitation there because of that potential of, grants in the future?
I don't know. I
Hmm.
honestly don't know.
Yeah.
I think that, the sense that I have is that the FinCom does not feel like there's an identified project.
Gotcha.
And
With an appropriate estimate to it, advanced
Mm.
enough to.
Right.
Well,
My
curveball.
last question for you regarding us. Do you anticipate that the NRC will be asked to take a position, or do you feel like we should be taking a position on anything either now or on the floor of town meeting?
so that's a great question. I don't think that I don't think that you've taken a vote at this point. And so maybe what I would suggest is that we will post a pre-meeting of the NRC on Sunday
Sure.
so that you are able to take a vote.
Mhm.
Pre-meeting,
Yes, before town
Before
meeting.
town meeting.
right? I mean, the reason I'm asking is I have work travel. I will need to leave probably around 3:30
Okay,
on
so we
Sunday.
can do
So
it at 12:55.
yeah, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah,
As long as it's
I'm
before.
volunteering as a teller, so I need to be at town meeting for
Can you step out for 5 minutes?
12:45.
5 minutes.
Oh, yeah, so
Yeah.
it would just be a 5-minute.
Yeah. And we need
Yeah.
that, we should have that report in hand, right? Friday's report.
Oh,
I
that
mean,
report
that
will be ready by
report-
Friday?
It will be, but that report is not intended to be something that is available, it's not informing this current vote. I
So-
do feel like FinCom thinks that it is, but
So we should be clear about that then, right? So we're actually voting to support CPA application.
Mhm.
So money's available to do the
Yeah.
proper study.
Mhm.
We're not necessarily supporting one position or another.
Right.
At this time.
That's what we
That's
have to say at
correct.
this time.
Because
That's
we
what
don't
have
have
to make
enough
loud and
information either.
clear. No,
Right.
right, exactly.
But we're all very clear that the resources need to be allocated so that
Absolutely. Yeah,
whatever
that's-
solution
that's
is
it.
selected can be
And
implemented.
that's right. That's where we are. That makes a lot of sense.
With the understanding that any unused funds will be returned
Right.
so that they have comfort. I mean,
Yeah,
that
Yes,
we want them to be comfortable that we're not just gonna
right.
good.
scoop
So
the
can we
money.
just not vote now? Or do we have to put that in?
Yeah.
an
Well, it
agenda?
wasn't on the
Can't vote
agenda.
now because it's not on the
It's not on the
agenda.
agenda. Okay.
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 And then Article 30 is on the agenda, on the town meeting warrant to approve the 162 Plainfield Road conveyance,
Oh,
which
yeah.
the NRC has already approved. We have scheduled the Warner's Pond second community meeting that will be held May 23rd at Harvey Wheeler, and also it will be available by Zoom.
Good.
And as I mentioned, the alternatives analysis report we expect will be published on Friday. Assabet River Bluff, we have a date scheduled for that invasive removal project, excuse me. That is May 10th, between 12 and 3. And we're having pizza at 12.
The big come on. That's what it is.
And we should be distributing something about that tomorrow. And the design charrette, we still haven't finalized a date, but we anticipate that's in June. We had a successful distribution of the pollinator plant kits
Good.
at the Earth Day, the Schenectady Earth Day on Saturday. And thank you again to those of you who were able to come and help with the plantings. That was a fun event. And finally, we will host the garlic mustard pull with the land trust. Those dates will be May 13th through the 21st, and the sign up will be available here on this Friday.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Delia. All right, I think now we move to our first and only continuance of the evening, I think, to be open and continued. Bill, you want to take that?
Sure. I move that we open and continue to May 17th without discussion. The notice of intent for 53A and Nurse Hill Road, DEP file 1371633.
Second.
Thank you. And the vote, Bill,
Aye.
Gary,
Aye.
Sarah,
Aye.
and I am an I as well. And I don't see Nick, so I think he's probably gonna miss this one. All right. So our first continuance of the evening is notice of intent, 300 Ministerial Drive, DEP file 137-1628.
Hi,
Nathaniel, how are
Yep.
you?
good, how are you?
Good. You want to just give us a brief overview?
Yep, so, I don't think there's really too much of a change from the last hearing, but I know, Delia had let me know about the, subcatchment area that the town was looking at and that it was below a half square mile. So this is not a perennial stream, so there's, even though I provided them just in case, there's no need for any additional riverfront calcs. Other than that, the most recent changes I had talked about them last time, but they were removing the additional invasive Norway maple tree and adding the stockpiling outside of the floodplain, which the town had reviewed, which was another comments. And I think the other one was hand removal of the invasives being noted on the plan. And we provided stamped landscape plans as requested this week. I'm just kind of being brief because like I said, I think we touched on these at the last meeting, but if there's anything else that's outstanding, I'm here for that, but that is it.
Thank you, Nathaniel. I can't think of anything else outstanding. Any of the commissioners?
No.
No, it's okay.
All right. Is there any public comment in regard to this application? All right, seeing none, I do think we have an order of conditions prepared.
So, I propose that we close the hearing and, sorry, what's the language? And issue, thank you, an order of conditions, for 300 Ministerial Drive, DEP file 1371628, with findings A through C, standard conditions 1 through 20, and special conditions 21 through 57.
Second,
Thank you, Gary. And we'll take the vote. Bill?
Aye.
Gary?
aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
And I am an aye as well. Thank you, Nathaniel.
All right, thank you.
Good luck with the project.
Thanks.
All right. So our next continuous this evening is a notice of intent for 794 Elm Street,
749.
794,
I'm sorry, that's.
Oh, that was a typo.
which is DEP file 137-1630.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Brian Levy.
Hey, Brian, good evening.
I'll be joining you remotely, as you can see. Before we get started, Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to check one procedural point, which is it sounds like Bill is present tonight, but Nick is not. Do I have that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
So at the first session of the hearing on this application, Nick was present and Bill was not. So I'm just wondering if Bill has watched the tape and signed the certification for Mullen purposes.
That's a fair question, Bill.
No, I had not yet watched the tape.
Okay.
I read the minutes, but I've not done that.
We still have a quorum.
Yeah, we still have 3 out of 5, so we're good. Right.
Okay, great.
Yep. Thank you for bringing that up.
Okay, thank you. With you tonight, live are my client, MAP Holdings. Mark and Megan Page are in the room. Our wetlands consultant, Scott Smyers from Oxbow is in the room. And our civil engineer, Don Allen from Bowler Engineer is in the room with you. So very, very briefly here, we filed the NOI on February 1, seeking an order of conditions and also a very limited waiver from the 25-foot NDZ. We had our first hearing with you folks on February 22. And over the last 2 months, we've been working very hard to address your comments from the last hearing, plus the various staff comments that have been coming in over that period. We have what I would say are sort of clean sign-offs from the CPW Engineering, CPW Water and Sewer, the Public Health Director, and the Fire Department. And in connection with the Planning Board, we had our second hearing last night with them, site plan review application. And we're going to go back to them on May 9th to clean up some final items. In connection with that planning process, the assistant director of the NRC in Delia's absence did email the planning board that the NRC's outstanding issues had been addressed and the CPW stormwater issues had all been addressed. And Bert was also kind enough to share with us a draft of the special conditions of the OOC. So we have comments on 2 of those, fairly minor comments. So Mr. Chairman, what we could do here is we could either have Scott sort of recap for the board if you'd like the changes that have been made, or we can just jump straight to those 2 conditions.
I think it was pretty straightforward. Last time, I think we got a good flavor of it. And as you say, it was somewhat de minimis on our end to a degree. And it is clear that you provided or addressed those issues, I think, by staff. So I think we could probably have Scott touch on a couple of the items in the order of conditions you'd like to refine.
Yeah, I can cover that.
Okay,
Come
fine.
on up here.
Yeah, so it was just that two items in that. The
Okay.
First one was 27, where it talks about the required lighting specs. It calls out 560 millimeters when I believe that should be nanometers.
Okay,
Good.
so, yep. Thank you for that.
It's a minor one there.
Yep.
And then the second item was 34, just relative to the no dumpsters within the jurisdictional buffer areas. Was that intended for construction? Because I know we have the.
We
proposed
clarified it
within that.
in
Gotcha.
this to just say no construction dumpsters.
Right.
Because that was an existing condition, I think, or the setup was, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, those were the only kind of two items. Just wanted to make you guys aware.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, no
Thank you
problem.
for both catches. And I think we've made that change anyway, so I think we're good to go.
Both of those?
We have nothing else, Mr. Chairman. We're all set.
Thank you, Brian. All right, commissioners, any other comments from your end? All right, going out to the public, is there any public comment regarding this application? Seeing none, I think we do have an order of conditions.
So I move to close and issue order of conditions for 794 Elm Street. DEP file number 1371630 with findings A through C, with standard conditions 1 through 20 and special conditions 21 through 53.
Second.
Thank you, Sarah. And the vote, Bill?
Yeah, I vote on this one, or since I had.
Oh, that's right, yeah, you should abstain. Thank you for that. Gary?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
And I am an aye as well. Thank you, Brian, and thank you,
Thank you.
team.
Thank you,
Good luck
Mr.
with the
Chairman.
project.
Thank you, members. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take
Have a
care.
good night.
You too. All right, we'll move on to our new applications this evening. The first one up is the RDA application, 74B Fairhaven Road, RDA file 23-4. And Joan, you up?
Yes, yep,
All right,
thank
good
you,
evening.
thank you. I'm Joan Ferguson. I'm a trustee of the Concord Land Conservation Trust, and with me tonight are, in person, are Jane Gruber Chevalier, our executive director, and Sam Will, our stewardship and engagement coordinator. So I'll just briefly describe this trail restoration work along Fairhaven Bay. I hope you've all had a chance to walk on it. It's a lovely and popular trail. We're thinking of restoring 100 feet of this 700-foot long trail that's been in existence for 70 years. And the condition has been deteriorating. There's been more frequent flooding in recent years and increased use. And so when this segment of the trail floods, the users have tended to start taking shortcuts up the slope, which is very steep and erodible. So we wanted to improve this, and we brought in the Appalachian Mountain Club, with whom we had a successful collaboration a couple of years ago, and this is their professional crew. So the proposal is to bring in fieldstone to put along this section of the trail, and then backfill behind it to raise the level of the trail, the elevation of the trail, an average of 10 inches. And after the stones are put down, we would put down filter fabric, which was a recent issue brought to our attention that should help distribute the weight of the stone and protect the exposed tree roots. And then we put in 1.5-inch stone. And I think if Jane and Sam brought the samples of this stone so you can see what it looks like, it's, very permeable.
Let's see that stone.
Yeah, well, okay, it's just a little, this isn't the big field stone, this is the fill stone.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, and then to top that with 3/4-inch wash stone, so it's just a slightly friendlier walking
Yeah.
surface.
Uh-huh.
But the AMC will, because they can, we will assemble the materials on the plateau above this trail, and they will set up rigging and pulleys to bring it down to the site, so we don't have to disturb the slope or bring endless wheelbarrows of material down along the trail from the stone boathouse. And this work, we anticipate it will be done, well, it has to be done during a dry period of the year, so probably in the summer. And I guess I'll leave it there, but certainly answer any questions.
Thank you, Joan. Actually, you already answered my question. I was wondering about the tree roots too, a little bit with the 1.5-inch, sharp edges and whatnot. So, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
It-
it's a
I
good
didn't have
idea.
any other questions.
Okay.
Joan, just a quick question. This is Bill.
Hi, Bill.
Where is this beyond the stone boathouse? Is it past the stone boathouse? Is that where this is taking place?
Yeah, so it's past the Stone Boat House
Yeah.
and you're heading, toward the bay and toward the
Yeah,
Sudbury
I know what you
River.
mean. Yeah,
Okay, and
And
it's
it's very
just
low.
100, yes, it is, and it's the place that floods, and if we can raise the level this 10 inches.
Yeah.
Certainly the whole trail will continue to flood at certain times of year,
sure,
but-
yeah.
but the whole trail should flood, flood uniformly at that point.
All
And,
right, that sounds
and we always work on ways to signal to people that the trail is impassable, to signal to them at an, opportune moment in their walking.
Good.
So we continue to do that.
Great.
All right, thank you. Let's see, any public comment regarding this project? All right, seeing none. I do think we have a recommendation prepared. Sarah, you want to take that on?
Yeah.
Can
Nope.
I make one suggestion,
Yeah.
just based on something Joan just said about doing work in the dry? That would be good to just include as a third condition.
Okay. Okay. So I'd like to move that we issue a negative determination. Oh, this is for 74B Fairhaven Road, RDA 23-4. And I make a motion that we move a negative determination number 2 with the following conditions. 1, a pre-construction conference will be held with the contractor and DNR staff prior to the commencement of work. 2, after the project has been completed, the applicant shall submit a letter to the NRC stating that all work has been conducted in accordance with all conditions of this determination of applicability, and any changes from the RDA shall be described. And 3, that the work is performed in dry conditions in the summer months. Does that work?
Let's say during low flow conditions
Okay.
between June and October, June 1st and October 1st.
Second.
All right, thank you. And will you vote, Bill,
Aye.
Gary,
Aye.
Sarah,
Aye.
and I am an I as well. All right, so that's number 1, I believe.
Mhm.
All right, moving on. Again, in RDA number 23-5, 115B Lowell Road for the Conservation Land Conservation Trust. Joan.
Yes, well, Sam is going to be, Sam
we
is
go.
making this presentation, and I'll
Okay.
stay here, so,
So I'm Sam Will, Stewardship and Engagement Coordinator for the Land Trust. Also assuming that you guys have walked over Chamberlain Woods before, but it's located on Lowell Road. It's a 52-acre wooded land. We've owned it since the 90s, but the trail that runs through it has probably existed for much longer than that. If you've walked it, you may have noticed parts of the trail are very wide. We've thought that maybe it's an old woods road or a cart path. And the area in question is this wet section, just, as you're reaching kind of the end of our property, as you head towards Bateman's Pond. And it's a stream that has basically flooded the trail several times. And the issue is when it floods, it just kind of masses a pool of water. So people have either been walking through the mud or walking through it, or have been, walking around and trying to cross the stream elsewhere. And 2 summers ago, when it was very, very wet, it pretty much was a pond, but then it froze and it was dangerous for people to be walking. So we propose to daylight the stream. And in doing so, we will be, cutting a trench that's at most going to be 10 inches deep. It's going to be a little bit long because, as you can see in the picture, the stream goes diagonally. It doesn't quite cut perpendicular to the trail. So in daylighting the stream, we will also be putting in about an 8-foot bog bridge, so that people can, pass over without touching or hurting the stream in any way. And yeah, so I'm happy to answer some questions. Again, the measurements are a little approximate just because, it'll depend a little bit on how we're able to get the water to flow from one end to the other and, we don't want to make more work for ourselves.
Yeah.
We're not gonna dig, more than a foot, so.
Yes.
It will definitely depend. And we would love to do it in a dry time so that we don't have to deal about diverting water or re-engineering the whole stream while we, construct and excavate the material. And then the material itself, it again depends on what we will be excavating. If it's rocks, we can kind of line the trench a little bit. Otherwise, we will be hauling that material out of the buffer zone, and either off of the site completely or in other areas outside the buffer zone along the trail to fill any other, holes or things that need repair.
And as part of this, there's a PVC pipe that you'll
Yes.
determine whether it stays in place or.
We would love to remove it.
If-
The
if you
PVC
can.
pipe is, I think, we're a little unsure because
Sure.
we're not here for that long, but the PVC pipe seems to be relatively new, like maybe in the last 10 years, let's
Mhm.
say.
Mhm.
And it's shallow, like you can see it. So I'm guessing we're gonna be cutting right where the pipe is laying.
Yeah.
So I would love to remove it because I
Gotcha.
think it's part of the problem.
Yeah,
Sure.
and in the sketch, just curiosity, where it says side slope, those are existing side slopes already?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
really minimal.
Yeah.
I mean, the trail bed is a little bit raised, but barely. I think Joan was just indicating how, where the drop off is.
Yeah.
We have some photos of it, so we
Yeah.
can see it's not.
Yeah. No, it's
It's
a pretty
very-
level area.
Yeah, it seems like
Which
that.
makes sense, right? When it flooded, it, kind of took over the whole trail.
Yeah, it's a little
Yeah.
depression
Right,
in essence, yeah,
right.
okay. And again, there's just one note here from staff that just depending on erosion controls or not, depending what
Right.
you may or may not get into, or again, where you find yourself in the season, if you will.
Yes,
Yeah.
we also, as appropriate, putting up some sort of like siltration fence
Yeah.
of sorts.
Straw wattle.
Yeah.
Right,
Fine, depending on, yeah, so, yeah. All right,
So, Matt, just a quick question.
yes, please.
How long would you predict that PVC pipe is?
So I think it runs the length, which is about, I think it's 20 to 25 feet long. So across that tire path, we can only see it on the downstream side. So it's a little hard to see in the pictures, but
Hmm.
on the, the bottom part of the page is where you can kind of see it poking out from the snow.
Mhm.
I did not find it on the other part, either
Oh, is that
covered in
right?
leaves or
Yeah,
under snow, underwater. But my guess is it's, somewhere in the 20 feet long.
gotcha.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other comments, commission?
Not for me, no.
All right. All right, so I think with that, we have another recommendation. Bill, you wanna take that?
Sure. For the project location at 115B Lowell Road, I make a motion that we issue a negative determination number 2 with the following conditions. 1A, pre-construction conference will be held with the contractor and the DNR staff prior to the commencement of work. And 2, after the project has been completed, the applicant shall submit a letter to the NRC stating that all work has been conducted in accordance with all conditions of this determination of applicability. And any changes from the RDA shall be described.
And it's 3?
Oh, there's a 3, huh? Okay.
Just the drive.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Yeah. And that this should be done during dry conditions.
You want to
Should
put the
be-
dates, June 1 to September 1?
Between June 1st and
October first.
October 1st.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you, Bill.
Second.
Thank you, Gary, and the vote. Bill,
Aye.
Gary,
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
And I am an aye as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Good luck with the project.
Thank you.
Thanks for improving the trails.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Thanks, Joan.
All right, I think we've got one more, which is the
Planning division.
Concord Planning Division, Main and Walden Street. This is an RDA number 23-6. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you all for having me. Should I dive right in?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Aaron, just name and coordinates for the record.
Sure. My name is Erin Stevens and I'm a senior planner with the Town Planning Division.
Welcome.
Thank you. So the project, let me pull up. Actually, I'm gonna do it on here. It's a little bit easier. Can you all see that okay?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, great. So I'm sorry that the drawing is so small. It turns out that engineering drawings have a lot of detail, and so we have to have very large drawings. So the proposal that we have before us today is for the Main and Walden Street project. This is a pedestrian, mostly a pedestrian improvement project. We are looking to create bump outs to shorten the distance that people are having to walk across both Main and Walden streets. Through this, we are also going to be hopefully slowing traffic by making the roadway not physically narrower, but visually narrower. As a part of this, and the part that comes to all of you, is we are doing work within the 200-foot river front and the 100-foot buffer zone. We are adding in 3 new catch basins, which are going to be all deep sump. We have also the addition of, I can make this a little bit bigger for you all. There we go.
That's good. Thank you.
Perfect. So we are adding in a catch basin here at the front of the bump outs. This is in front of Footstock. We're going to be adding in 1 in the proposed sidewalk extension and 1 at the end. In addition, we are also going to be adding in French drains, which will be flowing into one of the deep sump catch basins so that we can have that additional drainage. We definitely don't want any black ice. That we know that there's already quite a bit of issues with drainage in this area and flooding. So we're trying to make all the improvements that we can. In addition, we are also adding in 2 street trees, which we hope will also help with some of the urban flooding, as they will take some of that water on as well. I think those are the main things that you all would be interested in. I don't know if there's any questions.
No, just point of clarification for me, just out of curiosity. That drain that's in the sidewalk, that I guess the 4th one, is that so that sidewalk, as you say, will be kind of tipped back towards that, and so it'll capture the sidewalk runoff, if you will, at a different elevation than the street? Is that
Correct.
correct? Okay, thank you. I just didn't quite understand the plan.
Sure.
Any other questions from the commissioners?
Trench drain versus catch basin.
Okay.
And I had, did we specify what trees they were? Is that? What type of trees? Should we-
So they have not been identified what species, unless Erin, you have more, just any more information on that, but they will be native, is that
Okay,
correct?
that was, I was hoping.
Native is
Yeah.
good.
Yes,
Okay.
they will be native trees that can survive in that space.
Yeah.
We have yet to decide what the exact species will be. We will see what
Okay.
will work best in that space, though.
Okay, great.
Yeah, that gets a lot of sun all day.
You could include that if you want it as a special
I
condition.
think it would be good to, yeah.
All right, I think with that, no other comments from the commissioners, I don't see any public comment either, perhaps, no one's there. So with that, we have a recommendation. Gary, you want to take that?
Take it, or do you want to add a
Oh,
condition?
Sarah, why don't you do
Oh,
that?
you
Sure.
can- You can have
Yeah,
a
okay.
condition.
Well, I'm not quite sure. Is the condition that we want to
Native
native trees? Okay, all right, got it. So I move that we issue for the Main and Walden Street project by the Concord Planning Division. I move that we issue a negative determination number 2 with the following conditions. 1, a pre-construction conference will be held with the contractor and the DNR staff prior to the commencement of work. 2, after the project has been completed, the applicant shall submit a letter to the NRC stating that all work has been conducted in accordance with all conditions of the determination of applicability. 3, that native species will be selected for plantings, and any changes from the RDA shall be described.
Second.
Thank you, Sarah. And the vote, Bill?
Aye.
Gary?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Good luck with the project.
Thank you.
You bet.
Oh, who's Nick coming in now?
All right.
You wanted to be here for the administrative approval.
Let's see, we have the final thing on the agenda is an administrative approval.
Yep, got that. And
And we've
are
got
we holding the other business too?
Yes,
Okay.
sorry, I'm not looking at the agenda, I'm looking at.
All right, so
Right. So I see that Mr. Epstein is here. This is 122 Ripley Hill Road, and let me just pull up my screen.
Hi, Nick.
Hello, just thought I'd join to see how the process worked.
yeah. Welcome.
Figured this is probably the easiest one on the agenda tonight.
I don't know if you can see this
Yeah.
light yellow line here is the 100-foot
Mhm.
buffer zone. This is in
Oh, okay.
Rocksmith, and there is a tree right
inside.
inside the 100-foot.
Mhm.
And I'll show you a picture of what that tree looks like. So this tree has sheared
well,
off.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's probably 20 or 30 feet high. Jake, does that sound about right?
Yeah,
How tree is it?
What was it?
What was it?
Oh, I'm not sure what it was.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
just curious.
Yeah.
yeah, sorry, I don't know my trees well enough to know that either, sorry.
It's okay for you.
It's a snapped in half tree.
It's a broken tree.
Yeah, there we go.
Tree.
And have you spoken with your arborist or your tree company about how the work will be done?
I have not, no, I haven't contacted anyone about removing it yet.
Okay, so typically what we would want to see is that the tree is flush cut.
Yeah.
And you can drop it. That's fine, and leave it in place. You can remove it if you want, but there's no need from our standpoint to do that,
Got
but taking the whole stump out is pretty disruptive. So there's no need for that from
Right.
our perspective. Also, if you want to leave a snag 10-foot high, 8-foot high,
It would be great.
Yep.
Yeah.
that's a nice wildlife habitat for woodpeckers, chickadees, nuthatches, that sort of thing. So
Got it, okay.
And
I
no,
don't-
no
I don't
need
think
for
it's
replacement.
I don't think so.
It looked like there was a fair amount of
Yeah.
growth around the tree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Can I just clarify, we're not requiring the snag, we're just
Suggesting.
suggesting, yeah.
Got it, okay, thank you.
All right.
Well, it's,
We clear?
it's an administrative.
Yeah.
Approval, so
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
from our
So we
perspective,
don't need a vote.
thanks for conforming us.
All right. Good luck with that.
Thank you, thank you,
Alright.
appreciate it.
Thanks. Thanks for attending.
Yeah.
All right. And lastly, other business.
Ken Miller, who was one of the founding members of the Trails Committee, that was started in 2007. He resigned last month, and Bauke Nordij, who is one of our trail stewards, a very active trail steward, was nominated by the Trails Committee to serve in the newly opened position. Great.
And
He would fill Ken's unexpired term through next May.
All right. Bill, you want to give us a motion on that?
Sure, I make a motion that we appoint Bauke to the Trails Committee to fill Ken Miller's term.
All right.
Second.
Thank you, Sarah. And the vote, Bill,
Aye.
Gary,
Aye.
Sarah,
Aye.
and I am an aye as well. And with that, we are adjourned.
Good.
Evening, Nick.